Girl, we are meeting the Chuck Norris of Canada today.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Can you tell I was not the demo for this doc?
You know what? I totally am.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'm such a sucker for this kind of thing.
We just went down, two roads diverged in a wood, and we went down separate directions.
Hi, Julie Benzavalli.
Hello, Patrick Hines.
Are you going to tell him or you want me to tell him?
You got to tell him.
All right, fam, we have launched full video episodes on YouTube for free.
Yeah, we just have them now.
We have them. We are, like, they're going to look like our current studio, but we're in the process of, like, redoing our whole studio to be, like, cool and hip.
A lot of information we're giving you today.
I know. It's going to be amazing. So, True Crime Obsessed is our channel on YouTube. You can go watch all of our full videos going forward. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, going forward. It's not like...
No, we're not going... You're not going to see, like, 2017 me and Jillian.
Aaron and Tom are like, oh, God. Oh, God. And a big thanks to Aaron and Tom who are making these videos, because I kind of made it sound like they just appear. They do not appear.
No.
Elves do not make them. We have real amazing people making these videos for us, so thank you both.
And, like, Natalie, who's handling, like, the calendar of how all of that is getting done. We've got a real team behind the scenes that makes this stuff happen. We are so
Thanks,
grateful.
everybody.
All right, girl, what are we talking about today?
The Jewel Thief.
Your
It's on
favorite new
Hulu.
documentary?
It's just that, like, for the first 15 minutes, this guy is like a god to these people. They're in love with him. They're in awe of him. He's the new James Bond. It goes on forever, and I'm like, oh, so he's a bozo.
Right.
The longer, like, he is, my heart stops at the thought of him. The more I'm like, oh, so he's a dingbat? He's just like an insufferable herb?
I don't think I've ever heard you say bozo before. That's great.
I have.
Really?
With Twin Flames. I kept calling them bozos. And Robbie was like, are you writing for the New York Post now? Our friend Robbie texted me. He's like, the amount of times you call these people bozos.
Oh, my
like,
God.
I can't.
This is the story of a conniving, creative, intelligent man committing frauds that were fairy tale-like.
Blanchard is probably the savviest criminal mind I've ever experienced as a police officer.
He's a professional. He looks like my doctor.
He was like a James Bond kind of guy on the other side of the fence.
He's been committing crime his entire life and never getting caught.
It sounds like the script from a Hollywood movie, from bank robbery and fraud to stealing a diamond brooch from an Austrian museum.
Okay, this precious piece of jewelry was stolen, but at least by somebody like James Bond.
Mr. Blanchard ranks at the very top. There have been more factually complex cases, but none quite as bizarre and entertaining and unusual as Mr. Blanchard.
We open, I gotta just say, like, I love that, like, the opening part of this documentary is like caper music. It's like, we're not a regular documentary, we're a cool documentary. Very stylized.
But then we get the on-screen text. This is a true story, mostly.
I know. Which, again, I'm like, all right, we get it. You're the cool doc. You want us to drink at your house.
But the reason that they're saying that is because the thief is here, and you can't believe a word he says.
And I will say, the documentary does a great job of him being like, this thing happened, and then it cuts to the cop, and the cop's like, that never happened.
That never happened. We meet Carol as mom.
I got some questions for Carol.
I got some questions, too, and some statements for Carol.
Do you want to make one right now?
Well, Carol is convinced she raised this, like, wonderful, perfect, gifted, wish I had 5 just like him kind of son.
How many years did her son spend in prison?
Like 8.
Like, at least. And then, like, the 4 before that.
It should have been 168 years or something, but he got 8. He's very loving to the people who are important to him. And I'm like, oh, Carol, play that back. Listen to what you said. If you are not worthy of his, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, you should just be like a nice person.
Carol is also another person who is like, I don't know how my son is buying me this new fancy car. I don't know.
Please. Carol, wake up. Because then we meet Gerald, the thief, and I'm like, all right, James Bond, he is not.
But I never, ever understand how these people who've committed 168 years worth of prison time crimes are sitting for the documentary. I kept waiting for it to be like he was an actor.
No. No, they make it very clear here because the cops are bozos.
Yeah.
Speaking of bozos, the cops,
Mitch and Larry,
basically let him get away with this every step of the way, and they're like, bye.
I know, and the cops,
good heist, good heist this time.
They can't help but be kind of impressed by him.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Because Gerald, his name is Gerald Daniel Blanchard.
I've been calling him Gerald Blanchard.
He goes by Daniel sometimes.
I know.
Gerald, whatever. But this guy's here. And he's saying everyone is jealous. We don't live he gets to live a life that everyone wants to live.
Yeah.
And no one has the guts to execute it like he did, and he's amazing. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm tuned out already, Gerald.
Totally.
Jerry, I'm not, you're not going to get my attention, girl.
Well, he's like the kind
Except
of...
you are, because I have 40 pages of notes, and it's my job.
Same.
But other
And
than that.
by the way, my font used to just be 18, and I would enlarge it to 24 when I'd be mad. Now it's just straight 24.
24.
It's just straight 24 point font.
I getcha.
It is 90 pages.
Yeah, it's like it goes on forever.
It goes on for forever. But like Carol is saying to us, the mom is like,
if he'd have told me that he was going to be a mastermind international thief, I would have just blown it off and go, yeah, sure you are. Okay, kid. But he's always been, as you say, a little guy. He looks like a nerd. He looks like a nerd.
She calls her son a little nerd.
Yeah, because his lower third is former criminal mastermind. Like, we're
Right.
supposed to think he gave it all up.
Totally.
Okay.
These guys he can't give it up. Because like the hot guy that lived in the treehouse, this is not about the money for him.
No. No. That's the Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
The
that
Point
was,
Break bank robber.
Exactly. And that was a great documentary.
great.
How to Rob a Bank.
How
That's
to
what
rob a
that
bank,
was.
yeah. Because what the mom is saying, like, he stayed to himself and he loves electronics, and he was always like taking things apart and putting things back together, which is like a very cool interest. But this guy sucks.
Not me. Not me. You would be surprised to know that like I was the kid out collecting like salamanders and garter snakes.
Cool.
I was like an outdoor kid when I was a kid. Like I really there was a caper once where I brought a snake to school and it got loose. They had to evacuate the school.
What? What kind was it? Like boa constrictor?
Can you imagine? Like I found a boa constrictor in the backyard. No, it was a little garter snake, but it like it.
They're harmless.
I know they do bite though.
Like nothing.
But it got
it's
away.
Like a little love bite. A little love nibble.
Oh, I can't believe there was a time that I played with snakes.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I can't either.
No, but
and then what happened? Did it live happily ever after?
I don't think they ever found him. But
of course not.
I'm sure, but they evacuated the whole floor of my school.
That's ridiculous.
There's a garter snake.
That's ridiculous. They're this big. Am I wrong? They're like
right.
nuts.
You're right. But I brought it back in the day. They used to make those tubs of peanut butter for poor people.
Okay.
And so we had one of those, and I remember like it was a plastic lid, and I cut like air holes in it so I could bring the snake to school. But I didn't realize the air holes were so big that the snake
went right
could
through
just get right out.
Yep. Did you name it?
No.
Okay.
He wasn't in my life long enough. You know what I mean?
That's sad.
I know.
Hope he's okay. How long do snakes live? Could he still be alive now?
Yeah, 97 years, I think, is the average.
All right.
So he's probably still alive.
Yeah.
He probably still lives in that classroom.
Just
Sippacan Elementary in Marion, Massachusetts.
Hanging out on the front lawn.
Totally.
Telling tales about that time he got the whole school shut down.
Remember that time that gay kid caught me?
Yeah, that was me. That was me.
That little queen caught me.
They're like all gathered around all
ago.
the salamanders and all like the ants and the other snakes. They're like,
by the guy that hosts that true crime podcast? That was you?
I knew him when.
Oh my God.
Got the whole school shut down.
Well, guess what? This guy's street name was MacGyver.
Whatever. Like, he's adopted at 6 years old.
Yeah.
And his adoptive parents got divorced.
And like the dad just like bailed on this kid's life.
Very
very early. Like
Yeah.
the adopted dad bails, and then like they were living like a nice life in Canada, and then they moved to Omaha, Nebraska with like just him and his mom. We are told, and I've not heard this to be true currently, but we are told that Omaha is the most dangerous place in the world to live.
I mean, says our unreliable narrator
The
who wants
mean
to be the
streets of
victim
Omaha.
and hero in every breath. So I don't believe a word he says.
He literally says only the strongest survive.
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? I know.
But he explains that he started to hate the banks because he watched his mother beg and fight with them, and he grew to hate them.
Which makes sense.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
So he was saying, like,
we didn't have milk for the cereal, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, I used to use like ginger ale for milk. That's how bad it was. So I had to go steal milk from the neighbors.
He never stole milk. I mean, that's part of his story.
And it's the first time that we get a shot to the mom who's like, that never happened.
That never happened. That's part of a story he made up. He did steal penny candy, however. And I made him return it.
Yeah, she'd march him right back.
But this is where I'm like, Carol?
I know.
She calls that an enhanced story. Just call it a lie. It's a lie.
Right.
He just lied.
Oh, my God.
And it's okay. He made a whole life of it, and you're very proud of his lying life. But don't call it an enhanced story, like a conscious uncoupling.
Or like alternative facts.
Whatever.
You know?
An enhanced story, it's just a lie. Who is he, Jack Kelly? He improves the truth? Like, only Jack Kelly's allowed to do that, okay? In the movie version of Newsies, because it's the only Newsies that exists.
The movie version of Newsies.
The only version that
Arise
exists.
and seize the day, or don't seize it at all.
Don't talk to me if you're going to talk to me about something other than the movie version of Newsies.
And if you haven't seen it, pause this right now and go watch it. Fix your life and go watch it.
Like, please, it's on Disney Plus.
I know. I saw it in the movie theater.
Oh my God.
I know. I saw it for the 1 week it was out.
Life-changing.
It was truly
Kenny
life-changing.
Ortega. Oh my God. Anyway, so Jack Kelly, he's not.
No.
So the thief is like, I was stealing food for my family, and that's what led me to this life of crime. And I'm like, I'm so tired already. This revisionist history where he's the hero. Like, how original, bro.
I know. But he's learning that he's just like really good at it. He was also a really like an early adopter of the video camera.
He filmed everything.
He filmed literally everything.
Like all the stealing. So even Lori, his friend who's here, is like, can I just be honest? He always wanted the attention.
Ooh,
he would do
100%.
anything for the attention.
Yeah.
And that's like why he was stealing and also filming everything.
Right.
Because he was filming the stealing.
And he's not, it's not even that he's that good at it. It's just that nobody's paying attention.
Yes.
You know?
So he says it's kind of like, because there's like all this footage of him just like grabbing a box of money at the school event and like walking away.
Right.
And I know you didn't watch Band of Brothers.
No.
But it's excellent.
Okay.
And it's like a true story of what happened with Easy Company in World War II, right? So they're like fighting the Nazis and whatever. So Donnie Wahlberg is in it, and he's excellent in
I
it.
love Donnie Wahlberg.
And he is excellent in it. Everyone's great in it.
Wow.
But there's this part.
Donnie Wahlberg DM'd me once.
I know.
Remember? I just remembered that.
Because we do very scary people sometimes to show.
Right. He was like, "Can I be on your pod?" I was like, "Yeah, Donnie
And then
Wahlberg."
he ghosted you.
And then he ghosted me.
Typical.
One DM from Donnie
Typical.
Wahlberg. One
But
DM from the Berg.
There's this scene in Band of Brothers where this guy Spears is like running across the field to like rescue I Company and bring them back. But he's like, it's too obvious. Like the Germans are right there, Spears. Right. And he's like, and we see it happen, but it's this beautiful narration of Donnie going, at first, the Germans didn't shoot at him. I think they couldn't quite believe what they were seeing. And you see Spears like go, and he's like, but that wasn't the really astounding thing. The really astounding thing was after he hooked up with I Company, he came back. And I'm like, and that actually happened. Everyone go watch Band of Brothers.
Wow.
But it's one of those things where it's like, he's not stealing from the register in front of me, right?
Literally, like he takes like cartons of cigarettes in front of the cigarette lady and just puts them in his car.
My crazy brain just went right to Band of Brothers. That's how
okay.
I work.
This podcast swings from Band of Brothers to Newsies like that.
Like,
you know what I mean?
It literally just did.
100%.
I mean, on brand, honestly. If you know me for 5 minutes, you know how on brand that is.
Truly.
To go from Tom Hanks produced Band of Brothers to Newsies and back again in 2 seconds, like this.
It's very you.
It feels good.
I like it.
It feels safe.
But we learned that what he's really doing is that he's stealing stuff to sell it, right? That's how he's making money.
Right, and he would steal things like electronics.
Right.
So he went to Radio Shack, who he says it's the Best Buy of North America. I'm like, it's Best Buy.
That feels very Canadian.
Best Buy.
Yeah, Canadians. Am I wrong?
Yeah, sorry. But it's Best Buy.
Whoa, listen, we need them. We can't come for them right now.
I love Canada.
Okay, because we're probably going to end up there.
You're talking to someone who very much enjoys the program Degrassi, The Next Generation.
That's true.
I am
I
not coming
know.
for Canada by any stretch. But sometimes they say sorry. If I get in trouble for saying orange, like, come on.
Florida.
We got to give and take a little bit
true.
here, everybody.
But you know the Canadians have never come for us. They're too nice.
They're way too nice.
Yeah.
But he says Best Buy. And I'm like, it's Best Buy.
Well, what he's doing is he's like stealing stuff from Radio Shack and selling it on the street. Then one day, according to legend...
And what ended up happening was Easter Sunday, we actually cleared out the whole entire store. We like disconnected the alarm, took everything out with a moving truck. I just became too confident.
Millions of dollars worth of product. And I'm like, okay.
Puts it all in his house. The fucking SWAT team shows up. The SWAT team shows up and kicks in his door.
This one might be a little bit true because the mom confirms it.
I know. And we see pictures of like the house that got tossed.
She goes, yeah, they ransacked my entire house, including the underwear drawer. What woman is keeping electronics in her Oh, wait. It like dawned on her, right? She's like, we won't talk about that. I'm like, we are sex positive.
We absolutely are sex positive. You keep that wherever you want to keep it.
Whatever.
You know what I mean?
It's 1987. This guy's 15 years old. He's charged with grand theft and released after 3 months. And he literally is like, you know what I have to thank for that? Racism.
Yeah.
He goes, it helped me a lot. I was a white kid. I was in school. Thanks, racism.
I really kind of thought it was kind of self-aware, at least of him to be like, I understand that like that was because I was a white kid.
Yeah, I think it's the most honest he is.
Yeah,
with us.
100%.
So he's on probation for like 2 years and he just doesn't stop. He actually ramps up the stealing.
Because once again, it really isn't about the money. He becomes like totally addicted to the adrenaline rush of stealing.
And I just want to point out, like, what he's doing is meticulous work in 1987.
Yes.
So what he's doing is he's breaking into cash registers, stealing the receipts, and then faking, using that to, like, 1987 version of Photoshop and making new receipts so that whenever someone was like, hey, kid, let me see the receipt for that, he had one.
Well, and also what he does is...
We saw him remove parts off of a cash register to fabricate receipts that were so authentic that the stores could not tell that they were a fake receipt.
He'll like duplicate a receipt for a VCR 8 times, go into the store, steal the VCR, and then return it to the store with the receipt and get the cash.
Right.
I mean, nobody should do this. It's against the law. Everybody just do the fucking right thing. But it's ingenious.
In 1987 especially, because he was just like, photocopying, like cutting them, taping, gluing. Like,
exactly.
And he was doing this over and over and over
And
again.
we will learn that this man has patience. It's how he gets away with almost everything that he does.
That's really, I think, what makes you a good criminal, if I may, is the patience of it. That's when you really, and I'm glad, like, keep fucking up, because patience doesn't last forever.
No, and you're always going to get caught, you know?
But everyone was in on it. His friends, his mother.
I know.
She's on camera laughing about it. She, like, saw all the electronics. She totally knew. And I'm telling you, how many times was the sentence, boys will be boys, uttered in that house? Or it's like, this guy could do no wrong in her eyes. He's gifted. He's charming. He's just doing something, like, he's really amazing. I promise you, she lived by boys will be boys.
Yes, and she's claiming she knows nothing. She's claiming that she knows nothing. This guy is making...
She's on camera opening these gifts for Christmas.
Exactly.
Give me a break.
Like,
he's 15.
He buys a house.
He's telling his mother that he's reselling stuff he found at garage sales. And he's on probation. And she was like, well, he was a money-making machine. And I'm like, from the garage sale resale market?
And what I'm saying is, like, she, like everybody in these documentaries, she's intentionally not asking any questions.
Well, because she likes the presents.
I mean, and she likes the fact that her 16-year-old son owns a house. Bought a house.
He bought a house at 16 because he forged all the paperwork and paid in cash.
Yeah.
And told some lie to his complicit mother. And, and he was like, yeah, she believed that my friend and I split the house. And I'm like, who is giving you a house when you're 16 years old?
Who's selling a house to a 16-year-old?
Like,
you know?
It must have been a shithole.
Well, it must have been. And by 1988, his friends who'd been in on it and who thought it was really fun, they're now saying this is like turning scary. And he's getting like really involved in gang activity. And they're starting to think that he's going to get killed like any second.
And he's so entitled because he's like stealing and lying and being a nightmare. And then he goes off on like respect. If you disrespect him, he'll make you pay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you twerp. What a twerp.
He's a bozo.
Such like
he's
twerp
a bozo
behavior.
Well, because he's like this skinny, scrawny little guy whose dad abandoned him basically at birth. Like, this is like the shit that happens, you know?
Even though he can do no wrong in his mother's eyes, it's not enough.
No, it's not enough.
So he's doing things like setting cars on fire.
But like this story is insane because his friend Jeff is here and like his friend Jeff wants to like ruin a car to get the insurance for it. And so they set this car on fire, and as they're walking away from the scene...
You know, we both could have walked away and it would have been no big deal. But he chose to confront the police and try to talk himself out of it. And it didn't work out very well for him.
I immediately recognized the kid as Blanchard because I've had past dealings with him.
He was like, hey, what are you doing here? I'm like, I don't know, some car's on fire.
And as I get closer to him, I could smell gasoline from him.
Because you smell like gasoline.
Right.
And then the car blows up. They arrest this kid.
And then he escapes because he supposedly climbs up into and through the ceiling.
But then the cops can't figure it out because they've taken him into an interrogation room. The cops leave him alone for 5 seconds. They come back and he's gone. And these cops think that he's like David Copperfield and he's walked through. They can't figure out where he went.
But in reality, he's Greg Pakaitis.
Who's that?
From Parks and Rec. And I know it's Greg Pakaitis. He's just the guy that's torturing Leslie Knope and like TPing the office. And he's like, it wasn't me, Leslie.
Well, but it's like there's only one way he could have gotten out. Like he didn't walk through the wall. The only way is up. It doesn't even occur to them that he went into the drop ceiling.
Right. But in true Greg Pakaitis fashion, he steals a bullet, draws a smiley face on it, and leaves it on his desk. That's him with the walnut, whatever, from Parks and Rec. You know you're getting got by a teenager.
Exactly.
This is so teenage.
And it really just shows you how it's not even that he's this good. It's that the cops are totally inept.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So once again, the SWAT team has to kick down the mother's door. They find him hiding in a closet. He's naked, and they haul him in. And she's like, he didn't do anything.
They haul him in bare ass.
He didn't do anything except buy me this new television and VCR and computer for Christmas. And he's 16 and he owns a house.
In 1987, the total of that was $400,000.
Can you believe it after he just purchased that home?
I know.
What are you doing with my gifted son? Dragging him out of the closet.
Why is he naked in the closet? Why is he naked?
Because he probably just doused himself. He was probably smelled like the gasoline from blowing up the car.
I guess. Well, they put him, so they arrest him naked. They put him in the cop car. We meet this new cop, this guy, Officer Jeff. Every cop says to him, take him downtown, but you got to know this guy's slippery. And Jeff was like, no worries, I got this. This kid's not getting away from me.
They're getting him on arson, evading arrest, theft, whatever else, all in one night.
Right.
He escapes again.
But wait, we got to go through this because Jeff, the cop who's convinced this kid won't get away from him, gets out of the car for 2 seconds. This skinny boy gets the handcuffs from behind his back. He jumps over the seat.
Shimmies out of it.
He like starts the car.
At this point, my career is starting to flash before my eyes, and I realize what's about to happen. And I'm screaming at him at the top of my lungs that I'm going to shoot him through the windshield. The car goes into drive. There's a cacophony, an explosion of noise and tire smoke.
Police officer slightly gets hit.
Now, in the reenactment, they do the Romeo and Michelle thing where the cop goes flying over the car.
And it's like a doll.
Yeah, totally. And the kid just takes off downtown driving with handcuffs. And then, as he's trying to escape, he's driving the cop car. He comes onto a crash site where the cop that had arrested him the first time is sort of like moving the traffic. So the cop sees the cop car. He's about to wave him through. This kid slows down enough to like wave at the cop.
He's taunting.
He's taunting. With the handcuffs and no clothes on.
What is that? Who does? I think that's Avon Barksdale on The Wire does that. He's in like a car chase and then he just goes like,
oh my God,
like waving to the
cops.
cops.
So the other car gets in his cop car. He's now chasing the naked 16-year-old driving the first cop car.
I mean,
this is a caper.
And Carol's like, he didn't do a thing wrong.
I know.
He's
My
perfect
son
in every way.
is
perfect in every way. Didn't do a thing wrong.
This is just, you have to be crazy in order to do this.
Yeah, so they finally catch him. Carol's crying.
Can I tell you one thing? Oh, God, I hope I don't get in trouble for telling this.
Oh, God.
There's a kid in a family that I know who is a teenager, and he crashed his car into a telephone pole.
Oh, God.
And then before the cops got there, like took off and the cops chased him.
No.
He then drove the car into a neighborhood and parked in a driveway thinking that it would look like the car was off, but he put his foot on the brake. So the cops followed him into the neighborhood and saw that the brake light was on this empty car.
Oh, my God. And no one got hurt?
No one got hurt, thank the Lord.
Oh, my God.
But, like, just don't
Teenagers
try to outrun
idiots.
the cops. You know what I mean?
Teenagers are dummies.
I know.
So this guy gets 7 years in prison. He only served 3.5.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, for the shit he pulled, seems very generous.
I mean,
like,
once again, it
thanks,
seems like he should be in prison for life.
yeah. So in 1997, he's been deported back to Canada.
Yes.
He has no money. He's up to his old tricks. He's stealing shit and faking the receipts to get the cash.
And that's what happens because
Canadian Customs gave me $10 to take the bus. I bought a $9 disposable camera, took the sales receipt, photocopied it at Staples for 10 cents, stole a couple of them, and started returning those cameras. By the end of the day, I had a couple $100. I felt like I was on top of the world, back to my old self.
duplicates the receipt, steals a whole bunch more of those cameras, and returns them all for the cash.
I think I said receipts. I think I didn't say the T. I think I said receipts.
Well, there's a lot of not saying the T going on in this country right now.
I know.
You know what I mean?
There sure is.
Yeah.
But I think I said it. I felt my lips say the P and not the T, and then it was going to haunt me forever if I didn't say it. I think I said receipts, everybody.
Watching you say it is even funnier than hearing it.
It's fun to say. It's a cute word. It's like the word bunny. Isn't the word bunny so cute?
Sure.
Bunny. It's so cute. But I'm pretty sure I said it. You got me. I got myself.
There are some humans named Bunny.
Yeah.
It's a good name for a person.
To me, it's very old money. But I could be wrong about
I think
that.
You're right.
I just associate that probably because
I think you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, so Aaron is here, the friend. He starts stealing with Gerald.
He's like his new friend in Canada. They hook up immediately. Aaron asks no questions, just does what he's told.
Yeah, because the thief was starting to think bigger. He doesn't want to do the steal return bit anymore.
Right.
He wants to graduate to robbing banks because remember, he hates the banks.
Even though...
And again, we are not defending big banks.
No, we definitely are not. But even though he was making 30 to 50K in a day sometimes.
He says him. Says himself. Maybe his mother.
Yeah.
Just consider the source.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Because, of course, I believed in hook, line, and sinker.
Just a reminder. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I know.
But, I would just consider
that's the whole thing with, the hot guy in the woods. It was never remember when he made $2 million selling drugs at one time?
I know.
It's never about the money. It's always about, they want to get caught.
And I think in some ways, yeah. Or at least be able to get caught so they can tell their revisionist history version of it.
Which is exactly what's going to happen here. Yeah.
So he studies the bank. He learns about the security systems. And again, like a lot of planning goes into this shit. And he's doing all of the planning.
And that really is the difference.
Richard, his bio dad, is here. And he's stretching on the chair before he sits down.
Dude, this is the guy. This is the Chuck Norris of Canada.
My girlfriend was 15. I was 17. We were kids ourselves. And she put him up for adoption. I had no say. She was the mother.
She was the mom. She made this decision.
Yeah.
And so the two of them...
That's not how that works, by the way.
Whatever.
Not at all how that works, but okay.
Rich.
Yeah.
So we hear the story about how the two of them are meeting for the first time, and they're both recording the conversation. And so it's like, I'm recording this. Great, me too. Great, me too. Like, all right.
I know.
God, the apple does not fall far.
It absolutely does not. The crazy people who record every phone call.
I mean, like, that is some serious shit. Like, why?
I know.
What a way to live. Can you just live your life and be a decent person? Why are you recording every single phone call?
I know. Yeah, it doesn't usually go hand in hand.
What a weird thing to do.
What a weird thing to do.
But then to meet your match and be like, me too. Me too. Like, all right.
I know. But we learned that he's like now getting better with each bank robbery, right? So we learned about this CIBC bank robbery.
Yeah, we also see footage from 2004 that looks like it's from the 1800s.
I know.
And it stopped me in my tracks. So we hear about the CIBC bank robbery, and Larry and Mitch are here. They're cops from Canada.
I'm a little bit obsessed with Larry and Mitch because they are outsmarted by this guy.
They've never seen anything like it.
They've never seen anything like it.
They love this guy. There's something about him. They're in awe of him.
There's a little bit of reverie for how long he gets away with it under their watch. So what we learn about this bank at CIBC, the building is brand new. The bank is not in operation yet. It's being built.
And there's no security on the branches while they're being built.
Which is a thing that you wouldn't necessarily know, you know?
But there are signs promoting the new location. So they're sort of pointing everyone's attention to the location, but there's no security on the branches while they're being built.
Exactly.
So this guy dresses up as a construction worker.
Well, the first time was pretty easy. I just went to Toys R Us and bought a $50 baby monitor. Screw that in there, plaster it up, sand it down, repaint it, and within 2 hours, you're done.
So he would have been able to listen to the general contractor say, okay, well, boys, this room's got to be done by such and such a day because the ATMs are coming on May 13th.
Now he's able to see and hear everything that's happening inside while they're building the bank, so he can learn everything he needs to know.
He's listening to the contractors, so he's hearing things like when the ATMs are coming, when security was being installed. And it's like, how great was this baby monitor that he could hear all of this?
I mean, baby monitors are pretty good. It's kind of crazy.
It must have been in some guy's office or something. Like, it must have been in a pretty central location that he was getting all of this information.
Or maybe there was many of them, and you like, it's hard to know, but what he learns is like how the motion detectors are going to work. He's just gathering all of this information that's basically going to enable him to be able to break in undetected.
And talking about his patience, he was going into the bank every once in a while and messing with the locks and doing it just enough that no one would notice, but that he'd be able to open the locks later.
Now, my note here is they explain how he was able to open the doors to the ATMs themselves, and they really want us to know how easy it was, but I could not follow it. And I was like, we are in no danger of me robbing any banks.
Oh, no.
They're like, it was so simple an idiot could do it. I'm like, I had to watch it 4 times and I still didn't get it.
No. I also I don't have any interest in doing that.
No, I don't mind earning money. You know what I mean? I kind of like earning money.
I just feel like the risk versus reward thing isn't really panning out.
Because you're definitely going to jail, and then like while you're spending the money that you stole, if you can even get away with it, you're looking over your shoulder the whole time.
Right, and do banks even have cash in them anymore?
I mean, not anymore. This isn't going to work anymore. No.
So anyway, he robs the bank the day before opening. So they're about to open. They have $750,000 in the ATMs.
And this is what he does. Like, he basically just walks in and an alarm does go off, but because he's pre-jiggered the doors on the ATMs, he can get $750,000 in cash in about 30 seconds.
And he makes it look like, he makes the alarm look like it was an error.
Right.
So when the cops get there,
police officers responded, checked the bank. There was no signs of forced entry. There was nothing suspicious, and kind of cleared the call.
They clear it because there's no forced entry,
right.
So it just looks like, we're still getting our feet wet here. The alarm, whoops, oh no.
It's kind of like, I don't know, if you're the cop guarding the new bank, could you maybe just think a little critically? You know what I mean? Maybe just do that perimeter check one more time.
There's just an empty building with $750,000 in it, and everyone knows the bank is opening tomorrow.
And suddenly there's an alarm going off in the ATM section. I don't know. I'm just saying take a quick look.
Like the day before we weren't going to have security? All right, whatever. So hours later,
like once the money is there, shouldn't there be security?
I know.
You know what I mean?
Hours later, the manager opens up the branch for the first day of work, and there's no money. And no one has any idea what happened. And this is like hours of lead time for the thief.
That's a customer service nightmare. You're just there to cash your check. There's no money, girl. I'm so sorry. But we have no idea what happened, but the money's gone.
Wait, there have been signs about this grand opening for like 3 weeks.
Sorry.
I went out of my way. I have to go to work.
I was pretty sure there was money here when I left last night. Seems like there wasn't.
And no one has any idea why. No forced entry,
Also,
whatever.
all the ATMs are broken, but nobody knows how it happened.
So they finally figured out that they've been robbed after 4 days or whatever.
You know what? You know what I think happened?
You know what I think happened?
I think we were robbed.
It was that manager in the morning being like, "Hi, you left me with no money. We were robbed." So they figure out, put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
They've been robbed. They check the cameras. They see a car. They run the plate. They get the name.
Danny Blanchard, he registered that vehicle, rented it in his name.
You ask yourself the question, how could someone so smart be so dumb?
The guy rented a car, his getaway car, using his real name.
He spent 9 months casing this bank, working his way in to figure out exactly how he could steal the $750.
Get a grip.
And what it was, there was a Walmart in that mini mall, and the Walmart cop ran all the plates that night just for whatever reason. And he rented a car in his own name, parked it in front of the bank, and went in and got his money.
In front of the cameras.
I mean, what?
The bank and the cameras.
And they're just saying, how can you be this smart and this stupid?
Right.
You know?
Right. So the cops look into the case. Turns out a lot of banks in the surrounding areas had the exact same thing happen. Dozens of them.
Yes.
Dozens. No one noticed until now. I'm like, Canada.
I know. Because what would happen is they would show up in the morning and there'd be no money, but they couldn't figure out how anybody got any money
out. And no
out.
one's trying to preemptively. No one's like, well, it has been a string of robberies. Let's
feel
just
like
make extra sure.
The morning meeting was just kind of well, there was money here last night, but now there's not. But
I
maybe
hate a morning meeting.
I
was at a place where we had to do they called it the morning jam.
Yeah.
It made me crazy. And finally, a coworker and I, who's also named Patrick.
Oh, wow.
Weirdly enough. That's not a bit. His name is Patrick Jones. He's great. But we were just like, we got to put a stop to this.
Can I tell you something you're going to hate?
What?
I love a morning meeting.
Why?
Well,
can't we just settle in and get the day started?
In fairness to me, in fairness to everybody, I've been up since 4. So by the time it's 9:30 in the morning meeting, it's midday for me.
Right, but that's just you.
I know. Believe me, I've learned to understand that other people do not like morning meetings.
We had to have a come to Jesus moment with someone who was much older than us being like, it's not working.
Right.
The morning meetings where we can't.
Yeah.
We can't. You just let us get our day started,
I'm just
please?
excited to do my job. That's all.
I know.
I just want to talk about it.
It's not working.
9:15. I know.
So he's arrested again. He robs another ATM. The cops surround him.
I put the tarp over the machine, and I took a circular saw, and I bought a diamond blade that will cut through an inch of steel like butter. The door popped right open. There's $200,000 right there. So I look out the tarp, and I'm being surrounded by the police. But I had a backup plan. I'm wearing a vest with 6 smoke grenades.
The cops come. He throws smoke grenades at the cops, runs for it, and they tackle him.
The dog gets him.
Right.
The dog gets him. He's arrested.
Yeah. But, sir, you have $750,000. How do you already need more money?
Well, it's not about that.
I know.
But the thing is, this guy that they're arresting at the ATM that the dog got, they don't know it's Gerald.
Right.
They don't know it's the guy. It's like, you can't put 2 and 2 together,
right.
please.
Well, right, because when he was arrested, he gave a false name.
Right.
And so he
learned from that rental car debacle.
Right, exactly. While they're looking for Gerald, they've got Gerald in custody. They just don't know it.
They walk him by the task force room that is looking for him. He is Greg Pakaitis. It is so ridiculous. He's like, there's a major investigation against me. How cool is that, Mom?
He peeks his head in. Who are you guys looking for?
Mom, I've made it. There's a task force about me, Mom.
By the way, everybody on this task force did not want to be on it because they did not think it was solvable. They've got the guy. Can you just imagine the scene where he pops his head and he's like, who are you guys looking for? And they're like, it doesn't matter. We're never going to find him.
I just don't understand how ATMs are being robbed all the time, and then you catch someone robbing an ATM and you're not thinking maybe it's the same person.
I know. Canada is spending too much time being kind.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
They also let him out on $2,000 bail.
I know.
And only after he's gone, someone's like, wait a second.
Wait a second. Was that the guy we were looking for?
They go, holy crow, that was the guy. Holy crow indeed. Jesus Christ.
Once again, I just imagine him going into the room. Can I help at all? Who are you guys looking for?
Well, now, but that's what he starts doing because now that they had him and let him go and he saw that they're taking this super seriously with the task force, he starts taunting the police.
At one point in time, he sent me a text message with a whole bunch of pictures of him sitting on a yacht and driving a Ferrari and, money on an ATM.
He likes to tease a little bit. He sent pictures when he was in China and he's at an ATM machine. He had piles of cash.
He's traveling the world and sending them photos of like cash, cars, jewelry.
Like, you gotta respect the game a little.
I mean,
because this actually does feel like a victimless crime. You know what I mean? I don't know if it is, but he's not robbing tellers. He's not like, no one's getting hurt here.
Right.
So I don't know.
But it is still like your money in that bank.
Yeah, I guess so.
I know. Again, I'm not defending big banks. Please don't get me started.
I know how much you love banks. I forgot. I didn't mean to ruffle any feathers.
Big sperm too. I was like, I'm not defending big sperm. I just feel like there's got to be a middle ground between like big sperm or like jerking off in the mall bathroom.
Or like, being allowed to populate an entire country.
Like, and be a racist white supremacist.
We're talking, what was that document?
What was that called? The Man with 1,000 Kids.
Yeah,
horrifying.
on the
Anyway, the cops finally get a wiretap on this loser.
But
and
the thing
could not shut up.
They're like, there's no way he's going to be talking on the phone. He's just spilling the beans. He never thinks he's ever going to get caught. He's saying everything. And he's like, I know cops. I know you're listening. I don't care. You're never going to catch me.
And he was talking to them directly. And he'd win every single time. He's like, I'm using this fake press badge and I'm going to this stupid party and bye.
He loved the sports. He's spending all of his money going to the sports. And I'm like, Carl, But like, it's not even that he's that good at this. It's just that like, he doesn't care. He'll sit in the air conditioning duct for 15 days to get all the information in a way that nobody else will. He's not like a mastermind. He's just patient and a loser.
And he got teamed up with the cops who were just going to fumble this.
Larry and Mitch, there's a soft spot in my heart for these guys.
Because they're like chasing him literally all over the world.
It's true.
And he's like, bye, can't catch me, bye.
I know.
So this guy's married to Ramona.
Yeah.
And now, in addition to all of the money he's stealing, Ramona's parents bankroll her extravagant life.
Yes.
She's traveling for months and months at a time. The thief's mother, Carol, she goes,
according to my son, financially then, her father was helping them establish real estate. So there was no question about my son being involved in any kind of crimes.
There's no reason for me to believe that my son was involved in any kind of crimes.
Yeah. Carol, he bought a house at 16, girl.
Do you remember the time he was naked, hiding from the SWAT team in the closet, and they dragged him out of the house? Do you remember when he went to prison? Do you remember when he's been arrested? Carol.
My mom's...
He bought a house in cash at 16 years old.
16.
Carol.
My mom's wife, may she rest, her name was Carol, and one of my favorite memories of Carol is that she would walk down the stairs backwards because of her vertigo. She would walk down the stairs backwards. So
How does that help vertigo?
So I don't know, but imagine like you're sitting in a living room and then like you would turn to walk down the stairs and be like, good night. She would like walk down backwards facing you. Bye, Carol.
That's spectacular.
I know. Whenever I think of Carol, I remember her walking down the stairs backwards.
Oh my God.
I know. She was a great lady.
That's amazing.
A bus driver.
That would scare me if I was over for a sleepover.
I know.
I'd be like, what the fuck is she doing?
I'd love to know the circumstances under which you were at Carol's house for a sleepover.
I don't know. I'm just saying, if I was at your house for a sleepover or something, and then it's
Carol
like, why is she walking backwards down the stairs? Oh my God.
It's the vertigo.
Like, what?
I know. But it really does elongate the goodbye at the end of like a holiday. You know what I mean?
Because you're kind of like...
Because you're just staring at her.
Watch her the whole time, right?
I know. Oh,
it's
Carol,
like being front row at your friend's stand-up thing. You're just you're a performer at that point.
I know.
You got to laugh the loudest. You got to be the most engaged.
In every city I've done so far on my tour, I know all of the people in the front row. And it's so kind, but it's also terrifying.
It's a lot of work for the people in the front row. I
know.
say with love, because I'm there to support.
Hi, Katie and Andrew in Denver. You guys were the best.
Yeah. But it's like, God forbid
I know.
you break eye contact or maybe you have like one of those yawns that don't mean that you're tired. You just yawned. And then it's like, you see me from the stage. Or like you can't, time be damned, you can't check your watch.
Nope.
What are you bored? What, you can't wait to get out of here? You are performing more than your best friend. If you're in the first row of anything, you are performing more than the person on stage because you're performing a one-person show for them.
That is really, really true.
And that's part of the gig. Happy to do it. But you can't go and then be like not
into it. Not like really into it.
You can't do that.
Nope.
It's very transactional.
Nope.
Why would I even think my son would be arrested? I don't know, Carol.
I know.
So the thing is, though, Ramona's father really is super rich.
He's very rich.
And he is taking them to all these amazing places all around the world.
Yes. They're going to Vienna, and they're going to this palace in Vienna, which I have been to.
Really? It's like a private castle.
No, well, the one that we see from the outside is, I think that the family does live there, but you can go and tour it, which I did do. And it wasn't my cup of tea. But
why?
I didn't really like Vienna. I was only there for a day, and I went to, that was like the one thing I did was go to that place for the tour.
The big old castle was a snooze fest?
Yeah, it was kind of snooze fest.
What?
I know, I wasn't really into it. But he really likes it. And this is where he sees for the first time the Sisi Star.
I have it the Sisi Star.
Yeah, but they say Sissy.
Do they?
I related to it.
Well, it's SISI, so I guess joke's on me. But
Yeah.
it's 1999, and they're in Austria.
Yeah.
And the thing about this Sisi Star is that she was a famous empress. She was wonderful. She was beautiful. She had this like beautiful long hair, and she would put these diamond stars in it.
Yes.
And there are famous paintings of her depicting this, and the look was iconic. It was like legendary.
After Sisi's death and then after the monarchy, it was not quite clear where all the stars went. They were gone. We had one of the stars, we had one of the original stars, which Elizabeth wore, was just a highlight of the exhibition.
So these stars like remain and they're on display in this castle.
There's one star left.
Yeah.
And so it was put on display in this museum in Vienna, and it's a really, really, really big deal. People come just to see that one remaining star because this woman was so stunning and the look was so legendary, iconic, right?
Yeah.
Thief sees it. My God, he wants it. He
Gotta have
steals
it.
it. He
Yes.
steals it. Everyone in Austria is up in arms.
Right.
No one can believe it. It took them 3 weeks to figure out it was missing, by the way, because he replaced it with a replica from the gift shop.
Not the sharpest eye in the security guards.
Like,
you know what I mean?
The replica
I
from
know.
the gift shop?
And they say
but it still have the little price tag on it, $9.99.
It looks like wildly different, apparently.
Does it?
Yeah, apparently. That's what they say. Like, it doesn't. Like, who was the guard who was like, you know what?
I guess it's like a guard. You don't really care. Your job is to make sure it's not stolen. And
that's
maybe
true.
you're not, maybe, I don't know.
It takes them 3 weeks to realize it's gone.
So there are like a million different stories and rumors about how this supposedly happened.
Right.
Did he parachute onto the roof? No.
No.
Did he scale the walls and break in through a window? Also no.
No.
He was like doing the guided tour.
Right, and it is a bit of a magic trick because he does have to like lift the glass off the thing.
Very Indiana Jones with the weight thing. And
Right,
doing
because
that.
if the weight distribution is off, then an alarm sounds, but that didn't happen. So like they said, it took 3 weeks to know that it was gone. So whatever he did it in a way. I mean, my guess is that there isn't actually an alarm. You know what I mean? It's like,
Probably not,
beware of dog, but there's no dog.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he stole it for leverage, she says.
Actually, I took it because I knew maybe someday this could be a bargaining tool for future crimes that I had planned. And it was a priceless item from a museum, and that's why I took it. Plus, it looked nice.
Next time he gets caught, he can be like, I'll give you this Austrian jewel if you let me go.
This like priceless Austrian, it's like a piece of Austrian history.
So it's like this beautiful diamond star is his get out of jail free card. I hope he's taking good care of it.
Well, I don't think he is because we're going to find out where he's storing it. Like, that's what I think about the Gardner art. Like, somebody has it right now, and are they taking care of it? They aren't. They definitely aren't,
So eventually he gets divorced, shocking. Because his wife learns about his life of crime, and she and her family are disgusted, and she bails.
Totally.
He also wants his biological father to join his stealing team, but his dad is way too busy with martial arts, and he shows us a few moves. They always do.
I know.
They always
He says, like the Canadian Wolverine or the Chuck Norris of Canada.
Nope.
No.
Chuck Norris sucks.
Oh my God.
That's a fact. So it's 2006. Angela James has entered the chat. She's his new girlfriend and accomplice.
Yeah, and she becomes important in a second because now we got to meet Sergey, or as Blanchard calls him, the boss.
Yeah, and so basically this boss guy, he's a real big fish, as they say.
And like we're gonna find out that he really is. Like he's like the head of an organization that funds terrorists in the Middle East.
He's like doing arms deals. It's really, really bad.
This comes from the cops. Like that doesn't come from Blanchard. So like this the boss guy is very scary. He's like the credit card fraud king of Europe. And so he's giving Blanchard gigs, and Blanchard just like drops anything at a moment's notice to do the boss's bidding.
And so Angela, the girlfriend's like, I don't know, my mom probably won't let me. And so Gerald gets on the phone and explains it to her mother.
I know this guy, right? He basically gives you a stack of blank debit cards.
Yeah.
And you walk up to an ATM machine and you start withdrawing money from each of these blank cards.
Hey, and then what happens if you guys get caught out there?
There is no getting caught because you have a magnet with you which will erase the card.
Okay, you promise me you'll keep an eye on her?
No, she can go. You promise you'll keep an eye on her, though, with the stealing and the arms dealing and the terrorism?
Because the boss has a job for them in Cairo where they're going to do like credit card fraud and steal from all these ATMs. Angela is terrified, gets the mom on the phone. The mom's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
This mother should be in prison.
So the stealing. And then the stealing. And my daughter's involved?
Yeah. This
Okay,
sounds great.
and what's she going to do?
Right.
She going to be safe? No, you don't know? Okay, great.
But the truth of it is, I don't think Angela wants to do it. I think she's doing it at the bidding of her mother.
It's very weird because we don't hear from Angela. And I was wondering, I was like, oh man, is she into into abusive, manipulative relationships?
I think she is.
Because that's what it feels like to me.
Yes.
But there's another guy involved. His name is Bloom, a.k.a. Ken. It's Gerald, Angela, and Bloom Ken. And they're going to do this credit card fraud thing for the boss.
Yeah, so basically they get to Cairo and they what they're going to do is they're given a bunch of ATM cards and they're going to go all around Cairo and just empty these ATMs using the cards.
And put all the cash in duffel bags and then go back to the hotel room and film it all. So we get a ton of footage of everyone in the hotel room making the plans, talking about the plans, showing off the cash.
Oh my God, why are they doing that?
I don't know. But now Bloom, a.k.a. Ken, they don't explain why his nickname is Ken, but he makes a really bad decision.
Or a great one because he gets not in trouble for it.
I guess not. So he steals some cards belonging to the boss.
But this is where my butt got really clenched because this guy steals from the kingpin of the guy who does arms deals for terrorists in the Middle East.
That's why it's a bad decision.
Yeah.
Because he steals money from this guy, keeps it all for himself, and bails to Africa.
Now, the boss is not looking for this Bloom guy. He only, as far as he's concerned, this all comes down on Blanchard. Blanchard is on the hook for this guy that he brought on this job that now stole from the boss.
He has to go take care of it, whatever that means to you.
Right.
So Bloom Ken took the money, bought blood diamonds, jumped on a plane to Paris, and was thrown in immigration jail.
Right, but the boss doesn't care about that. He just wants his money back. He's now sent a team of people to babysit Blanchard and his people until he can get Bloom's money back.
Right.
This is terrifying. He's going to be killed any minute.
Yeah, because it turns out the boss is into much more than credit card fraud.
Yes.
And that's where we learned that he's the leader of a criminal organization funding terrorist activities in the Middle East.
Yes, this is you don't mess with this guy.
Now, for whatever reason, by the grace of God, Angela, the girlfriend, is allowed to go home.
Yes.
I don't know how or why. I don't care.
Yeah,
Great.
Good. Get out of there.
And also, can we figure out what happens so we can do that every time some other girlfriend needs to get the hell out of Dodge?
I mean, honestly, and what happens now, because it was about $100,000 that this Bloom guy stole from the boss. And so Blanchard says to the boss, look.
And it's my responsibility because he's my worker. Now, I might just cover the loss myself. This thing I'm working on is probably about 200 to 300,000 pound thing, which should be done in the next 15 to 20 days. I've done it before.
Don't worry about him. Let me go back to Canada. I can hit this bank, get you $300,000, no problem. I just got to go do it. So the boss lets him go. Now, the way this guy steals from these banks is that it takes months.
Yeah.
Because he's got to sit and watch everything. He's got to learn where everything is. He's got to plant the seeds. He's got to undo this door and he's got to, whatever. He's literally sitting in an air conditioning vent watching a security guard when the boss calls him and wants him to take notes.
Yeah.
And I was laughing my head off. And we hear the call because all of his calls are tapped. Mm-hmm. And so we hear him saying to the boss, I can't right now. I'm in an air conditioning vent. I've been here for 17
that he's
hours.
In the vent 40 times.
I know. He's I'm watching it. And the boss doesn't give a shit. He's my guys were arrested. I need you to find out. He's I can't get out of this air conditioning vent until the security officer leaves.
But remember, his phone is being tapped.
Yes.
And Gerald, the thief, knows that because he used to be taunting the police. So now...
I'm imagining this scene of the boss screaming at him while he's in an air... He's got his hand over the receiver so the security guard doesn't hear him.
And he cannot answer. But meanwhile, the cops are listening in on the wiretap.
I know.
So the cops are thrilled.
Yes.
So the
because they know where he is.
And now this is bad for the thief, obviously, because either he's dealing with the crime boss or he's dealing with the cops.
Right.
Either way, it's a bad situation.
Yeah.
And I'm girl, choices were made.
I know, because either the crime boss is going to kill him or he's going to get arrested.
Because the cops are now realizing that Danny Gerald, the thief, Blanchard guy, is brokering an arms deal via text.
Why is he doing that?
Because he's an asshole.
I mean, why?
That's why, in my notes, I'm this is so boring and stupid and I don't care. But also,
meanwhile, I'm riveted. I'm at the edge of my seat.
We go from trading electronics for cash to fucking arms deals
dealing
with terrorists via text really fast. You're just a bad guy.
But you know what it is? Remember when he was returning the shit for the cash and that wasn't enough, so he had to do banks?
Right. It's never enough.
It's never enough. Now he's got to broker an arms deal. That's got to be the ultimate high for him if he can get that done.
And all via text, AK-47s,
I know.
bullets, photos, and it's all via text.
Yeah.
It's so
via
fucking stupid.
Text.
And I'm this is the same guy from the beginning of the documentary where everyone was he's like James Bond, but better. And I'm what?
No.
Where am I?
And he's so stressed out. He doesn't want to be doing any, you can hear this. I love it when it switches and you can hear the stress in their voice.
Yeah, but the first 10 minutes were
I know.
I am in awe of him. He's a genius.
But this is what always happens when it's not about the money and it's just about the bigger thing. You're brokering an arms deal with an international terrorist. What are you doing?
To what end?
I know.
Idiots. So the cops catch him in the act of robbing the bank.
Yes.
And once they do that, that would mean that like all of the other warrants go into effect.
Yes.
And then the rest of the team would also be arrested. But that doesn't happen.
I noticed there was a lot more police presence around that particular bank. There was always an undercover car sitting close by, so I decided to not do anything.
We found out later that he actually was able to tap into the bank surveillance cameras at the bank and saw somebody look like a cop.
And the thief clocks them, and he doesn't actually go and rob the bank.
Right.
So the cops are like waiting for him to rob the bank, because once he does, everything's in effect, and we got this guy.
Yes.
But the guy sees the cops because they're probably like do with like mustache and like fake disguises on, like nothing to see here.
But they've got the light on the top of the car that they put out the window.
Even the poor dogs are dressed in costume.
What was the Waco one where it was like, we're the FBI and we're going to raid that place today? Do you know a back road into there?
And it was like the person who was who was like smuggling in more weapons.
Totally.
Like, oh my God. It's like that. So he doesn't actually rob the bank. So everything they were all excited to do to get this guy never happens. But they arrest him anyway.
Mitch and Larry go to his house and then pull him out of bed. I think he's clothed this time,
I think
God.
so. They're like, we had enough evidence, I guess. We were so sick of waiting on this. Like, they're like, he's home. We know where he is. We're just arresting him. We have all the texts. That's got to be something.
They also arrest that guy, Aaron, and Angela, and 18 other people in Canada that are connected to this guy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. His mom is a wreck. She's sobbing to this day.
Yeah.
He says to the camera, I'm sorry, but that first night in jail was the best night of my life. It was like the most stress-free he's been in a decade.
You know what? Because sometimes they, like you were just saying, they want to get caught sometimes.
They want to get
There's
caught.
the relief of like not having to run.
Totally.
So the cops are trying to get any one of his team or his friends to flip, and Angela's the only one who does it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want him out of my life. I don't want anything to do with him. He's a liar. He's heartless. He's selfish. He's greedy. I don't trust him. I hate him.
Yeah. And like Aaron, his other friend, is crying on the phone to his mother, talking about how scared he is. Girl, how did you think this was going to end?
Like,
how did you think this was going to end?
I don't understand.
You thought you were just going to do this for the rest of your life?
But Angela's the one who's like, no, I'm scared of the Blanchard guy.
Yes.
She says, like, the guy this doc is about, she goes, he will find me. He's terrified. And she's like, you don't want to see him when he's angry.
I know. And like, and he literally looks at the camera. He's like, yeah, that's about right.
He goes, because she knows what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you doing that thing where you're being an asshole and you're lying about how powerful you are? Or are you really this evil and abusive?
Well, because he looks at the camera and he says things like that all the time. Like there's a bit of sociopathy here. Like I don't think this man has any empathy anywhere in his body.
No.
You know?
No, like, Mom, those Christmas gifts weren't because he loved you. It's because he's rubbing your face in it.
Exactly.
And it's fun for him.
Well, Angela also is the one who tells the cops about the safe room behind the mirrors.
Okay. So the police, Angela gives them all the information.
Yeah.
The police raid and destroy this guy's house.
But I just wanted to say, like, that is, like, I mean, imagine looking at a house from the outside and you're like, wait, like, if you really look at it, you're like, there's rooms missing. Like, if you see it from the outside and you go to the inside, you're like, hang on, there should be more rooms in here.
Oh, weird.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, there's, like, these rooms were hidden behind mirrors. So it's like,
oh, yeah.
It's just like a weird, so like she said one night he literally climbed into the mirror and came back out with all this money and stuff. So she knew that there was like secret hidden rooms in his house.
Yeah, and guess what?
He kept records of everything he had done and what he'd bought.
He had literally thousands of physical keys.
Video and memory sticks and phones. And
there was cash and lots of it. He had the security guard uniforms.
All his ID, all his phony ID. But more importantly, what the gem were was all his video. He videotaped everything.
Everything they need to make a case against him was just like in these two rooms, organized perfectly.
Why? Like, is it trophies? Why would he keep any of that stuff?
I don't know, but the defense lawyer is like, whoa, hold on a second, cowboy. May we interest you in a deal?
Yeah.
Full restitution and those beautiful diamond stars that lady wore in her hair that time?
Yes, because he's facing 168 years in prison. And remember when he said, I'm going to steal that star as the bargaining chip?
Just get out of jail free card.
And it literally is. They take him to his grandmother's house where it's wrapped in styrofoam and hidden in a fucking wall.
Yep.
And instead of the 168 years, he gets 8.
Yeah, this makes national news, and he's loving the fact that he's making national news.
Yeah.
He loves the attention. He's such an immature man, baby.
Of course, but this is what it was all leading up to. It was never about the money. It was always about telling the world how, like, we are part of the problem.
Of course, feeding the ego.
Right, we're covering the documentary about this guy.
I couldn't agree more. Like, all these articles being written and photo shoots, and he's like the shameless, entitled guy. He was enabled by his mother and everyone else, and he was lucky enough to be surrounded by cops who screwed up constantly.
But it's like, we really do love like the Ocean's 11 of it all. You know what I mean?
He got everything he wanted.
Yeah.
He got everything he wanted.
But so did we. Like, it's good to watch the documentary because he is just a dirtbag loser. And he's like, whereas like you see like George Clooney and Matt Damon like doing this and Brad Pitt and Ocean, and you're like, oh my God,
and
it's
the
so
original,
sexy.
the Rat Pack.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, he is just a loser.
He's a loser.
You know?
Well, that's why you make movies like Ocean's 11 because it's a movie.
Yes.
And it's like the Hollywood glamour and old Vegas. And that's like, I'll watch that movie.
Apparently, they were going to make a movie out of this guy's life story, and Zac Efron was going to play him in the movie.
Poor Zac Efron.
But you know what? He would have been he would have been perfect.
He would have been good. He's a great actor.
He is.
No matter what Bob the Drag Queen says on Traitors.
Shit.
Dylan. Everyone, Traitors. No spoilers.
Okay.
But Dylan Efron is on it.
Oh, is that his brother?
Zach's brother. He's very Pilot Pete vibes from last season, if you remember.
I don't watch it.
Oh my God. Anyway, so they're at the round table, and Dylan is like, I grew up with an actor, and Bob the Drag Queen goes, not a very good one. Even Dolores from Jersey Housewives was like, how dare you? How very dare you?
Fam, are you watching Traitors? Get in the Facebook group. I want to hear about it.
But yeah, he got everything he wanted, and now he's free to keep doing it. Great job, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, so Blanchard was indicted on 16 counts of theft and fraud, facing a maximum sentence of 164 years after detailing his crimes, surrendering the Sisi Star, and paying full restitution to the CIBC Bank. That was interesting to me.
That was interesting. That never happens.
Well, but like, how much money did he have? And like, it must have been millions and millions. Like, he must have had it like stuffed away in the backyard.
Because it wasn't about the money, I guess.
Full restitution to the bank. He was sentenced to just 8 years in prison. And this too, as a condition of his guilty plea, none of his accomplices received prison sentences.
Yeah, not bad.
So he was like, he hooked Angela up.
Yeah, and also to be totally cynical about it, he gets to be like, I did this all by myself.
A
little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad, I want Angela to be okay, but I think part of it was like, no, I did this.
Totally.
He wants to go.
He was released from prison April 23rd, 2012. His mom is like...
He's never personally taken anything from anybody that he knows personally or family members. It's always been more like corporate America. And yes, I'm going to say banks, because his attitude, and quite honestly, my attitude has always been the banks are legal criminals because they can do anything they want to do. And they take money from people all the time.
Fuck the banks. They're legal criminals.
Carol, you're lying to yourself and to others. Don't do that.
I mean, he's a bad dude.
He's a bad dude. And in 2017, so he's out, right?
Yeah.
So he was out in 2012. Now, 2017, he was arrested for theft and pleaded guilty to one charge, and he received a 6-month conditional sentence and a 3-year probation period. And now he's just like, he's still out there doing...
The reason he got caught in 2017 was they knew it was him because a car at the scene was rented in the name of one of his known aliases. Like, he's an idiot.
Don't call this guy a mastermind, please. Enough.
Oh my God, girl, we did The Jewel Thief. The Jewel Thief. Oh my goodness.
Snooze fest.
I love a documentary like this.
I knew you would.
I'm really into it. Fam, don't forget, we have started to do full video episodes on YouTube. It's True Crime Obsessed on YouTube. Go watch it. We're so excited for you to see what we actually do in the booth all day. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
It's so exciting.
We also have a book club. If you'd like to join we've over 400 people in the book club.
Amazing.
Yeah. Get into the Facebook group. There's a pinned post. All you have to do is fill out the form. Sasha will be in touch, and you are officially a member of the group. And also check out our Discord.
I love it. I'm in the Discord every day.
And there's links to all of that stuff in the show notes of this episode and every episode.
Discord is like, I'm like, Discord, where have you been all my life?
I love that you're a Discord queen.
I'm in there.
Oh,
I'm not a queen, but I'm a girly.
Yeah. All right, great.
I'm in.
And we love you.
Okay, we love you.
We'll see you on YouTube.
Oh my God, we'll see you on YouTube.
Wild.
Wow.
All right,
okay,
bye.